Fire burns Babylon system. Yeah, no. Fire burns Babylon system. Then burning the earth, no, and killing our youth. But righteousness soon rise and bear the fruit.
Fire under system that trade truth for gold. Fire underground enslaving we bold. They write the story, erase the cause. They sell the world from the symbol cause. But we the storm that they cannot contain. Pulse of the earth, break down this chain. We raise from the dust, reclaim our fame. Fire burn the system, no more games.
They worship.
Welcome once again to another wonderful episode of Voice of the Ville. Today will be the final episode of Voice of the Ville as we transition into Universal Message. So let me welcome you to Universal Message. My name is Jimmy Alexandre, and I am your host. Welcome. Today's topic, bureaucracy versus oppression. When does the system stop serving the people? Again, welcome to another wonderful episode. Today we will talk about the system, but not just the system, but again, what happens when the system stops serving the people. We will seek to identify what is the true meaning of bureaucracy in contrast to oppression. Those are words we often use, but like many other words that we use on a regular basis, that most have no idea of the true meaning. But we will take a look at both bureaucracy versus oppression. There is a significant difference between organization and control. There is a significant difference between structure and oppression. And somewhere in between those two things is where people, or most people, we should say, are stuck, not understanding the difference. As always, before we continue, our show today is brought to you by Universal Message. Universal Message. Well, what is Universal Message? Universal Message is not about religion. It is not about denomination. It is not about politics. It is not about controlling how you, the people, think. It's about awareness. It's about the systems, the different systems. It's about psychology, spiritual beyond religion, human behavior, truth seekers, perception, and most importantly, independent thinking, critical thinking, something that we have been conditioned to refrain from, depending under what control or what programming that you are. Critical thinking has been taken from you. Yet, you will scratch, you will fight, believing you are defending your own critical thinking. When all along, it's the conditioning, it's the programming that you are living under. Sometimes the most dangerous thing in the world is a person who finally start to think for themselves. a person who finally start to question. Depending on what group, what sector you belong to, questioning is something you are not allowed to do. It's something that is opposed by your leaders. That's supposed to question. Some religion will tell you, do not question God, just believe. Yet that believing comes from no other than the men who stand in the pulpit telling you that. Allow it to sink in for a minute, if you can. Universal message. All right. As we go on to hit our topic, bureaucracy in contrast to oppression. First question we should ask, well, what is bureaucracy? And I read verbatimly. Bureaucracy is structure, for short, structure. Bureaucracy is a system, procedures, departments, approvals, denials, chains of command. Ask yourself, why do you think it is that mankind needs something to believe in, a chain of command? Not to say we do not need structure, but what is that urge, that feeling of needing something to believe in, something to put our trust in? And we are taught by all type of different mechanisms to look outside of us, to look beyond us. Some sectors, some belief system will even try to convince you that you are nothing but a dirty rag. So we are taught, conditioned to look everywhere else for that one thing of substance to believe in. Nobody is trying to hurt you directly when it comes to bureaucracy. To really let it sink in, bureaucracy. Let's imagine this. Imagine your grandmother is sick and need help immediately. But before she can get treatment and the help that she really needs, there are paperwork that has to be completed. There are formalities that has to be met. Then you may have a waiting list, insurance approvals, phone transfers before that loved one, whether it's the grandmother, the mother, or just that loved one, get the help that they desperately need. Nobody's trying to hurt you directly at this point, is there? However, the system, the bureaucracy system that has to be met moves so slow that people suffers within it. Is that okay? It's bureaucracy. We have to go through those formalities. We have to go through those systems while that loved one suffers before getting the help, the treatment that they need. Is that okay? Well, in a nutshell, that's bureaucracy. Bureaucracy exists for order, consistency, and quote unquote accountability. You want hospitals to have a procedure. You want them to have structure. You want them to have a system. But you don't want them operating on your loved one just like that. But the system becomes dangerous when procedures become more important than the people. Let that sink in. Well, then the next question comes. What is oppression? Now we can stick on system and talk about bureaucracy for quite a bit. Other than the hospital scenario I just gave you, we can look at, the law scenario. You have these speed limits set up on the roadways. And those speed limits have to be met whether there are other cars or not. And what are those speed limits really for? Nobody in danger, but you're going to get stopped because you're going 5 miles above the speed limit. Oh, this is going to help build that town that you're going through, isn't it? But let's talk about oppression. What is oppression? Oppression is intentional limitation, misuse of authority, unequal control, and suppression. I say it many times, and most of the episodes you've seen here or anywhere you've had an opportunity to hear me speak. The problem is not the system itself, is it? It's the people put in place to manage the system. How do you control those people? And let's go one step further. How about the people who are making these rules? The people who are deciding what? Is it always in your benefit? Is it always for the whole? And let's say it is, while the majority is under this. The people themselves who are in position to make these decisions, to make these choices, and give you these options, are they being held by the same standard? We could sit here and argue and say, yes, there should be, but are they? Oppression, unequal control, suppression. What's a good example of oppression? Imagine someone applying for opportunity after opportunity, but every door remains closed for one reason or another. Not because they don't qualify, but simply because the system was never designed to give them that equal opportunity. Oppression is by putting a label on a certain group, code words, in order to prevent that same level of opportunity. Oppression is having a set of rules that benefit some while leaving others behind, or being used to keep others from rising. Oppression, in one form or another, is what we deal with, depending on your ethnicity, the sector you belong to, and we can go on and on. When you have the system limiting you like that, that's not bureaucracy. When you are being asked what ethnicity you are, so we can quote unquote make sure it is equal opportunity, when redlining is a real thing, because that same question can be used either way. Why do we even have that question? Your ethnicity, your background, your race. Why? Well, we can say it is to be able to track that everybody's getting equal opportunity. Well, can it not be used for the opposite as well? Why do we even have it? If we are people, we are humans. It should be basic questions for all. Unfortunately, the facts are the facts. Bureaucracy say follow procedures. Oppression say stay in your place. Know your place. Know your role. And unfortunately, some people like it that way. Some of you watching loves it that way, while others have to deal with it that way. Who determines what place is what? Is it your skin color? Is it your sex? Is it your religion? Is it your belief system? What determines that? Yet, as I often say in this program, on this platform, we all put our pants on one leg at a time. As I always say, what makes your family more important than my family? What makes my family more important than your family? At the end of the day, you quickly find out we have quite a bit in common, trying to fight for the same thing. And this is not a color thing. This is real. Where a system is in place to control, where those that we have quote unquote voted for to serve us in a very weird way, we serving. We serving. Why? Because they're better off than we are, aren't they? Come into office, net worth 250K. Once you are in office, now your net worth a couple of $1 million. Am I serving you or are you serving me? Because my net worth did not increase. In fact, these taxes I'm paying, you're making decisions with them. That does not even include my opinion, whether I agree with it or not. Does it? So it's not a color thing, really. Yet we have been dissected, divided and conquered, dissected into class, dissected into race, dissected into religion, dissected into belief, dissected, and so on and on and on. Divide and conquer. And some people think they are part of a group, have no idea. When whatchamacallit hit the fan, then you find out quickly, where the majority really stand. Bureaucracy can frustrate people. Oppression controls people. In my humble opinion, bureaucracy is just a nice word to say you have to follow procedure. In my humble opinion, bureaucracy is a word to cover up oppression. Now, depending on what class you are, you will understand. And depending on what class you are, you will be completely against what's coming out of my mouth. But I will give it to you raw and uncut, and you can call it my opinion, my truth, my belief. Because we have established belief is nothing more than what you have chosen to be your truth. However, if we can have an educated debate about it, we can look at the facts. We can take a look at the educational system, which I often talk about here. The school is one of the first systems we experience. It is ironic, amazing, that the government so much care about me not sending my child to school because they're going to call me to court. Why has this child not gone to school? But when my child cannot eat, when my child needs clothing to wear, where is the government? In fact, if I try to go get help, well, you're making too much money, sir. Yet that money I am making with the taxes that you are oppressing me on, so you can make decisions so your children can go ahead and get a higher education, continue to pull me down. When the system, with the way you have set it up to keep me enslaved by simply having to work day in, day out, 40 hours a week, and I need the overtime because if I don't get the overtime, it's extremely hard to go ahead and get the extra things. Can barely really prepare for my child, can they? But yet, you, whom I've voted into office, don't have that problem, do you? Using that money before I even get my money. I work. I put in the hours before I even get it. You've taken out your portion, didn't you? I mean, we can go deep into this, and we will make an episode about that. Is it bureaucracy or is it oppression? That's what we seek to find out. So the school system, since when did you care so much about my children's well-being that if I don't send that child to school, it's a problem for me, that you may even lock me up? But yet other needs, no, but I gotta make sure I send my child to school because they have to be programmed, don't they? So they can go ahead and follow the trends, right? So that your children can have Indians to follow, right? Because your children will be the chief, you're the chief, and the children that I have will have to be the Indians so you can have more of the same thing going on. But we'll call it bureaucracy. Will we not? I guess I'm making this a little bit personal. Let's stick with the script. So you will teach the children literacy, discipline, and social structure so they can learn how to follow. They can learn to obey. Think about it. The students who ask too many questions, challenges ideas, or think differently usually are called out, usually are problem children. Usually you want to recommend that we feed them with medication so we can calm them down. Very often, that student is labeled as difficult instead of intelligent because they ask too much question. That's our society. Don't ask questions, just comply. System often reward compliance faster than originality. By the same token, we can take a look at religion. In religion, you are taught, do not ask questions. Just obey. Like I told you my story. I will never forget it. Mom says, just work hard. Do everything that you got to do here. We saying you got to do. That the Bible is saying you got to do. Now, what is the Bible saying? Your interpretation of the Bible. And when you get to heaven, after I die, God will explain it to me and make it make sense. I don't know about you, but I think I would rather it make sense now that I'm here and I know that I'm here. That I am aware that I am here. I would like it for it to make sense now so I can decide. Fair game. Religion can heal people, but institution can also control people. Religion can heal, while institution control. Well, what is religion? Today, religion, is it not an institution? I'll let you answer that for yourself. Imagine someone terrified to question leadership because they have been conditioned to believe questioning authority equals rebellion. If you question, it equals rebellion. So just believe what you say. Accept what you say. If not, that's rebellion. When fear enters spirituality, control usually follows. Well, in my humble opinion, that's what it's all about. If we install fear of hell, yet none of those people telling you about it has ever been there, yet we can sit there if we use critical thinking of the lack of sense a lot of the things that you are being told makes, I guess if you question it, it's rebellion. Truth survives question. Now I want you to put that into your pipe. Truth survives questions. That means if what you're saying is truth, facts, then we should have no question. We should have no problem with questionings, should we? We should be able to answer it, shouldn't we? But yet we have created a lot of minions, and these minions are walking around, want you to believe what they believe when they themselves cannot even explain what is it that they want you to believe. They want to sell you something that they cannot even explain because some questions they do not know themselves. Other than just believe it. And if you try to question it, you try to bring light, they don't even want to listen because they were conditioned. Now, if what you're serving or what you're selling is truth, you should be able to take questions and make it make sense. But I guess it's a lot easier for us to just believe due to the fear, especially for elder population who are now at that age where, hey, it's imminent. You came in, you gotta go out. So therefore, I want something to believe in. I want that hope. I want something to know. It is very unfortunate that all of these things, one place that we should be looking at, you are taught to look away from it. Control is a serious thing. Control is oppression. Let that sink in. It is time for our hot topic. Hot topic of the day. Hot topic of the day is very interesting for me. And let me read. Recently, Donald Trump traveled to China to meet with Xi Jinping, the president of China. For years, Trump positioned himself politically as tough on China. Let's be more specific. During Trump's first term, now I need you to remove yourself from partyism, from sides, and let's look at the facts. I'm the one of the ones here that have been crucified because I say, hey, I actually like Donald Trump's point of view on some things, especially the things that he was running on, making America great again, putting America first. It made sense to me, though I don't get involved with all that stuff, but I have conversations since I talk about politics a lot to say, hey, based on what this guy is saying, just make more sense to me than everything else I'm hearing or what I was showing or what was happening a couple of years ago. So people tear me down. I've posted a post where people was coming at me because they thought I support Trump. That's what they got out of that little clip from a whole episode that they never looked at. What they failed to realize, that's exactly how they're controlling you. All they got to do is give you a clip, and that's the narrative, and you follow on along. They can make you like, they can make you hate. They will decide simply because you are too lazy to do your homework. It is what it is. If you are offended, I do not apologize. So, even with the COVID, Donald Trump was one of the ones I felt was telling us the truth that this thing came from China. He said it. Donald Trump was one of the ones that stood against China's president, China's policies. Donald Trump even tell us, do your homework, do the work, right? Do the research. How China is taking our jobs. But yet, here we are, second term. For the first time, and I'm going to say it, like it or hate it, agree or disagree, It's just my opinion. I've never seen Trump look any weaker than in that summit from his speech, from anything he had to say. I've never seen Trump look that weak. He's always appeared to be strong. And that's why I thought maybe that was the leader, if a leader is needed, that perhaps this country needed. But after saying all these things, all the tariff that we have put on that country, and the way that whole tune, the whole rhythm to that song change when the clips I saw him speaking at that summit. Disappointing. It's not the same song that this leader was singing. It's not the same message that this leader was preaching on how to make America great again, to bring back our jobs, and to be a great country. But it was more of some brown nosing going on. Why? Whatever side of the spectrum you are on, let's look at the facts for what it is. That's not the same song being sung. What changed? So at this summit, I guess it leaves a lot of questioning. During the summit, there was a lot of talking about jobs, factories, outreaching, and unfair trading. That's a lot of what we heard. Trump was supposed to be the difference because Trump is not afraid. But the song, the dance, I see dancing there at that summit, two different things. Wake up. Go back. Go do some research. Take a look what was said and what is being said now. What is the difference? What is the true agenda? What's really happening? You and I, we pawns. Don't think you're anything more than that. Regardless where you think you fit. Pawns. So naturally, people have to ask the question, what changed? I'm asking it. Before I see any of that, once I saw those clips, I'm asking the question, what changed? Report discuss soybeans. I've did my due diligence to really see from what they want us to know. Yes, we also understand that our media will tell us something. We have to look outside our media if we want to know a little more. I have done both. We talk about soybeans, the export of soybeans. We talk about the Boeing aircraft deals. But guys, let's be honest. Let's do our due diligence. That's not the first time those topics came up. That's not the first time we're dealing with that. That's not the first time China was supposed to get excess amount of soybeans from us or was interested in acquiring Boeing aircrafts from us, none of which came through. How weak we look when our leader is the one that asked for this meeting. How weak we look when, still to this day, if you want to be honest, because some of you are in denial, what was it about? From what our leader said, what was accomplished? What was accomplished? I've been looking, searching for a joint statement, like usually happen when two countries meet. Nothing. Nothing solid. I have to question that. If you want to close your eyes and just believe in a man, that's a you problem, isn't it? Do not get upset if I'm questioning. I'm questioning. Because that's the only thing I can do. How does this truly benefit the American people long term? So when powerful government meet, the public hears patriotism. Patriotism. That's what we hear. Peace. That's a good thing. But after all the negativity and all this tariff and everything going on, that where China standing, all of a sudden this change with no clear explanation? I don't know. Perhaps it's me, in my humble opinion. China's looking real powerful right now. If this is a chess game, China looks like it's winning right now. Hopefully, There's a bigger plan. And how in the world do you go to a meeting with all these CEOs of those major big corporations that already have dealings with China? No knowledge. Make it make sense. How is that in my best interest? $1 trillion of jobs or investment China into this country? It sounds good in theory. It sounds great. Unity. But since when? Honestly, something like this I would have expected from the previous administration. Something like this I would have expected from the previous administration, not from this one. Only question I can ask, what is really going on? It is clear for me, I don't know about you. Government does not have my best interest in heart. The system does not have my best interest in heart. However, it is ran with the best interests of those who are running and leading it. And if you don't see that, it's a problem. But yet, we all comply. And this right here does contact us directly back to tonight's topic, because the systems are not only political, they are economics. Takes us to our main topic tonight, Voice of the Ville. Voice of the Ville started as a community conversation here in Marshall County, Alabama. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud to have been part of that. But over time, conversations evolve, as you have witnessed. The question becomes deeper. And honestly, so did I. I've evolved. I have changed. And as you can see yourself, we started. I'm still here. Not everybody has the same level of commitment. Not everybody, when they say yes, they mean yes. Not everybody can say they are an individual of their word. Over time, we have evolved. The question becomes deeper, and honestly, I have learned quite a bit. Politically, my point of view has strengthened in many ways, has evolved in many ways, and I'm grateful for that. And sometimes growth requires transition. So moving forward, this platform officially becomes Universal Message. Universal Message for all. Or at least those who's questioning, those who's using critical thinking. It's not personal, it's not a bad thing. But we want to encourage you to think and think for yourself. We want to encourage you to be fair. We want to encourage you, not just looking for a come up, for a quick come up. When I personally get involved with something, it's not about how much I can get out of it. While we all work to enhance our families, I seek to enhance the lives I come in contact with. And I believe if I can do that, my family's life will be enhanced. It's my true and honest belief. I'm not interested in politics simply because I figure if I can get in at a net worth of 100,000, I can become a millionaire and have a net worth of 5 million, if not billions. I'm not interested in that. But I am interested in stimulating your mind to think and see what's really going on. I am very interested in enhancing your thought process, and that perhaps we can come out of the oppression and not be part of the oppressor. Some people are more interested in being a part of the oppressor. It's a choice. I have made mine. Others have made theirs. But I'm still here. So I say to you, welcome to Universal Message, as it is official. Finally, let me leave you with this. Not every system was created to destroy you, but every system must be questioned. Because the moment people stop questioning, system gain unchecked power. I don't need a man to define how I think, how I grow, or how I live. And I've said it many times. Because every structure built by men can be manipulated by men. And this very system we are under, that we are talking about, is founded, structured by men. Therefore, it can and will be manipulated. Based on the theory, for my family, I will do whatever I gotta do for my family. That's the justification. But if it's gonna be a system that you are voted, it should not be. It should be for the people. Not as an excuse, not as a slogan, but truly by every step, everything I do, even in my basic business before I get there. So some I had committed to that I would support politically. Unfortunately, I cannot. Because it's not about the people. And if it's not about the people, then it's not about me, and I cannot support it. It's about self-justification. Awareness is uncomfortable. Because once you see clearly, you cannot unsee. And perhaps that's my problem. I have seen the light that way in the gate, and I cannot unsee. And because of that, it's going to be very difficult for me to comply. And maybe that's why so many people prefer comfort over truth. But me, this is a good saying. Well, I am a house. My maison servira l'Éternel, right? But I am a house where we'll seek the truth. We will always question, and we will not comply just because. I would rather live aware than comfortably control. I would rather live aware than comfortably control. And that I will teach my children, that can live aware and be very uncomfortable because they're not complying, than to live comfortably control. That may be the difference between you and I. You were not born programmed. You were taught. And anything that is taught can be questioned. Anything that is taught can be questioned. Because awareness begins the moment fear of questioning ends. Again, This is the final episode of what was known as Voice of the Ville and the beginning of Universal Message. It is a pleasure to serve you. I do not seek to lead you in any way, shape, or form, but I do seek to have you question the things you were told not to question. I seek to have you question the things thrown at you that you were supposed to just accept. I seek to have you question, why are you complying to what you don't even understand? Why are you complying to what that's not even serving you in your quote unquote family? It's time to wake up. We can do better. Until we see it for what it is, it's going to continue treating us, controlling us for what it wants. As always, it is a pleasure. And I thank you for taking the time with me here today to listen to this whole episode. At least now you have context. Again, it is yours truly, Jimmy Alexandre. This has been the final episode of Voice of the Ville and the beginning of Universal Message.
Universal Message. Message universel. Universal Message. Message universel.
Yeah, no, fire burns Babylon system. Yeah, no, fire burns Babylon system. They're burning the earth, no, and killing our youth. But righteousness soon rise and bear the fruit.
Fire under system that trade true for gold. Fire underground enslaving we bold. They write the story, erase the course. They sell the world from the symbol course. But with the storm that they cannot contain, pulse of the earth, break down this chain. We raise from the dust, reclaim our fame. Fire under system, no more games.
They worship the dollar,
Forget about the soul.
but gold cannot buy.
What the truth control.